Today we're going to make a Italian classic, eggplant parmesan. I've always wondered why it's called eggplant parmesan when the predominant cheese is mozzarella, but I digress. So we will be using regular eggplants, not the Japanese ones. And it's a very simple dish in many respects. There's three main ingredients. There's eggplant, there's cheese, and there's a red sauce. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our sauce together, and because this is Cooking Secrets for Men, we're just going to use a jar of ready-made sauce, but we're going to doctor it. They've already done the hard part. They've crushed the tomatoes, they put in spices, and it's up to us to make it taste better. So almost any jarred spaghetti sauce will do. And what we're going to do is we're going to add Italian spices. So we'll go with a little oregano. And sweet basil. And we'll put in some thyme. Thyme and rosemary. It's always better to use, when you're cooking for an extended period of time, dried spices. They have a little more flavor. Fresh, if it's not going to be cooking that long. And I always use a little bit of crushed red pepper, pepperoncini. All right. So those are the main spices. We're going to give this a little stir. And we're going to add two more ingredients. The first one is going to be a little red wine. Any kind of red wine will do. So what we're going to do, we're going to take about a cup. We're just going to pour it right into the spaghetti sauce jar. Put the lid back on top, and then just shake it to get all the loose pieces of red in there, and just pour that in. And the jar is now empty. And the last thing I like to do is put in a little bit of sugar, because a lot of the store spaghetti sauces are a little bitter. So I'm just going to put a little sugar in there, take the edge off. We're going to let this simmer for a little bit. Put it on a nice simmer and let that heat and let the spices meld together. So when we do put it into the dish, everything will taste good. If you're worried about putting wine in, the alcohol cooks out very quickly and you're just left with the wine taste, not the actual alcohol. So we cover this, then we'll move on to the eggplant. So we've already cut one eggplant. We want it to be in about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch in diameter. We want to trim off this top part here and trim off the bottom, make it easier to cut the rounds. So we're just going to cut them. We do not peel for this dish. It's such a simple dish. The peeling is not necessary because the skin will get nice and soft and very edible as the dish cooks. And there's no need to salt these. I know some people do, but there's no real bitterness in this. It's just a wonderfully simple vegetarian dish. I'm going to get one more in here. All right. So we will move on to the next phase, which is going to dredge the pieces in egg wash, and then we're going to put them in some Italian breadcrumbs. So we have a couple of eggs. I'm going to beat them just like we're going to scramble them. And so there's always, when you're watching TV shows, the cooks will tell you, keep one hand dry and one hand in the wet. And I can't seem to do that, so I'm going to do the best that I can here. So I've gotten a sheet pan with some aluminum foil. Aluminum foils make sure that it doesn't stick very much. And very simple process. Just going to do this for all of the various pieces, and then once we do that, put them in the oven, bake them on one side, on both sides, one side at a time, and then we will assemble the dish in finality. So we're going to put the eggplants in to the oven. It's a preheated 350 degree oven. As you can see, the eggplants are covered in the Italian breadcrumbs. So we're going to go ahead and put that right into the oven. We're going to cook it for 10 minutes, 5 minutes on each side. And that's all it's going to need. We have 2 pans. We've got 2 eggplants. We're going to set the timer for 10 minutes, and then we're going to change at 5. And that's going to be the first part. All right. So that is our signal that the eggplants have finished baking. So we're going to take them out and assemble the dish, put it back in for final cooking. So the oven's going to stay on at 350, and then we're going to assemble the dish, the eggplant, cheese, and red sauce. So the first thing we do, put a little red sauce down at the bottom of the dish. It's a 9x13 baking dish. Just put a little sauce down the bottom. So serves 2 purposes, doesn't stick. And we have this flavor profile throughout. Alrighty. I'm going to take our first set, a smaller one, and then we're going to put layered on the red sauce, like that. And we're going to make multiple layers as we go along. So the first thing is the sauce, then the eggplant, and then we're going to add a little Parmesan cheese. And top that with mozzarella cheese. Alright, I'm going to top that with some more red sauce. Alright, we don't have to cover everything. And we're going to do the same thing with the second batch of eggplant. And then just repeat until we have all the eggplants lined up. So we may end up with a little bit higher, 1.5 level of eggplant, which it looks like we will. And we'll be back right before we put it in the oven. All right. Time to put our dish in the oven. As you can see, very lovely. Lots of eggplant, little cheese and sauce on top. Put it in. and put the timer on for 35 minutes. And then you need to check it at about 25 minutes just to make sure that the cheese on top isn't burning, because it will. Then we'll push start. Ready to go. And we'll be back with the finished product. And there's that sound. Tells us that 35 minutes is up. And our eggplant parm is ready to come out of the oven. I'm going to set it right over here. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of actually freshly grated Reggiano on top. Nice and bubbly. And there you have it. It's a wonderful dish. It can be used as a side dish. It can be as a main dish. But whatever you do, please enjoy and don't be afraid to experiment. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next time.